Hi, we're in Clermont and I'm standing in front of a dragline bucket, a used old dragline bucket that's used in mining coal from open cut coal mines. And we're at the Clermont Historical Centre. And we want to make sure that coal is not consigned to the history bins. We want coal to have a bright future. I want to make this video in response to a letter that our candidates received from the CFMMEU dated 18th of September, raising a number of topics and wanting to know our position. So I'm going to reply in a series of videos addressing each of the 5 points that the CFMMEU raised. And I'm going to do so from a different position in the Bowen Basin. Now everyone knows Moranbah, Collinsville. I've stayed and lived in both. They know about Glendon, Thierry, Middlemount, Gladstone and Hay Point. People know that these towns are tied to coal and coal communities depend upon coal. So I'll make these videos in lesser known coal communities because people right across our state need to know that coal is vital across our state, Central Queensland, Southern Queensland and Lower Northern Queensland. The key point to the CFMMEU is we need to understand that only one nation is the sole political defender and supporter of coal in this coming state election. Labor has a 50% renewables target and a 2050 net zero carbon dioxide policy. That means no coal. The Greens want a crazy 100% renewables, and they want a net zero carbon dioxide target, and that means no coal. The LNP says it supports coal, but it wants to double the current renewables to make it 30% is their target, and that means no more coal-fired power stations. A few weeks ago, they released a roadmap saying they would have gas in the mix for energy. Just last week, they've released a $15 billion roadmap that squeezes coal out and is not even mentioned in their policy, and it squeezes coal out in favour of unknown and unproven future technologies. Only one nation, as I said, supports, speaks up for and champions our coal industry and wants miners to have a future. We are the sole political defenders of coal, which is our largest export income earning industry from our state. Every year, the coal industry in our state gives $4 to $5 billion in revenue to the state government. Under Premier Palaszczuk's Labor machine, the Queensland government steals $1.5 billion from excess electricity charges from the generators alone. Under the LNP and Labor, there will be no new power stations built. Now, One Nation has coal miners as candidates, state and federal, Queensland and elsewhere. All of our existing MPs have vigorously supported coal and continue to support coal. Federally, Pauline and myself. In Queensland, Steve Andrew. New South Wales, Mark Latham and Rod Roberts. WA, Colin Tinknell and Robin Scott. All our Queensland candidates support our position on coal. We are calling for a new coal-fired power station and the end of large-scale renewable subsidies. And just think about this, in all communities, whether they're coal mining communities or not, to all people right across Queensland, you won't be able to keep your food cold in your fridge at night with solar power and wind power. That's it. Now that's why I have always been very proud of our coal industry and coal miners. I have been a coal miner. I have worked at the coalface for 3-4 years. I've also been a shift supervisor, a mine manager and an executive in the coal industry. And I'm very, very proud of the coal mining industry and our miners, and I stand up for our industry in the Senate, in public and in the media. So while driving down, I made some notes. One Nation will not abandon coal. I want to reassure our coal mining industry, our coal mining communities, our coal miners and their families that we support coal mining jobs. I also want to make this point. Only One Nation, under Pauline Hanson's leadership, has the courage and integrity to question the supposed science that underpins destructive climate and renewable policies. Our due diligence shows we must continue to stay strong and rely on coal. In my cross-examination of the CSIRO's climate science team, The team admitted that CSIRO, wait for this, has never said that carbon dioxide from human activity is a danger. Never. So why the costly shutting down of coal-fired power stations and the high Australian electricity prices? CSIRO also admitted, their science team admitted, that today's temperatures are not unprecedented. Not unprecedented. So that means that humans are not causing the latest warming that ended in 1995 because we weren't around to do the previous warmings. And thirdly, the CSIRO, in the end, relies only on unvalidated, erroneous computer models. That means they do that because they don't have any empirical evidence, which is what decides science, no empirical evidence proving that carbon dioxide affects climate. None at all. They rely on models and that's it, and they've been proven wrong. I've got 17 scientists from around the world, leading climate scientists, who have made videos with me supporting my conclusions with the CSIRO. Now, my conclusions with the CSIRO we published a few weeks ago, and they can't be sensibly refuted because they're not my opinions, they're not my data, they're simply our observations of what CSIRO has done and what CSIRO has said. That's all we've done. As a result of politicians quoting the CSIRO, and it seems wrongly at times, over the last 6 years, Australia has shut down 12 power stations, while China and India burn our coal in power stations and want to build hundreds of more new power stations. Carbon dioxide from human activity, carbon dioxide from any source is not a problem. And we're gutting our economic future while our competitors are pumping out record quantities of carbon dioxide, which is nature's essential trace gas, essential for all life on this earth. China and India use our coal. We send it thousands of kilometres to them. They generate electricity and sell it to their manufacturers and their farmers for 8 cents a kilowatt hour. We use the same coal here and we sell electricity at 25 cents a kilowatt hour. 3 times the price. Absurd. We should be cheaper than the Chinese. And here's the reason why ours is so expensive. I commissioned a report from the noted economist Dr. Alan Moran. And he went into government documents, budget papers, agency reports, state and federal, and he pulled together this information that shows that we are spending per household on average an extra $1,300 per year on renewables and climate policies. That's not the cost of electricity. That's in addition to our household bill because of the renewables. And as I said, try keeping your steak cold at night in the fridge and your ice cream cold at night in the fridge when you're relying upon solar. Dr. Moran's figures work out at, from government figures, $13 billion per year for renewables and climate policies. Now, one nation is committed to end the malinvestments in parasitic, large-scale renewables, quite often owned by foreign companies and subsidised by us and driving up our electricity prices. Quite frankly, we have too many lame, lazy, lax politicians who lack the character, the mettle, and the intellectual rigour to question climate science, to simply ask for the evidence. There are many politicians who know that the so-called science is flawed, yet they spend their days and lives hiding in the party's shadows instead of having the courage to speak out. Only one nation stands for and supports coal. So I will do the detailed response to the CFMMEU in the other videos, but that's what we want to send to the CFMMEU straight away. We are the only people supporting your members.